Hello everyone, I'm Tirunishwaran Arumugam 62801 and I'm the representative of my group in explaining the hazards and its consequences and also the risk reduction controls in a kindergarten which we have chosen as the workplace. So as you can see, kindergarten is basically a place where children aged 3 to 5 or 6 years old studying in a place, and there are also teachers who will assist them in their learning process. So although it's a kindergarten, there are also some hazards which we could see, and also we could have suggested some risk reduction controls. So let's look at the first one. So the first one is basically as you can see, the fan, its socket is not firmly fixed. So wires are more of loosening, and it's possible for the fan to be very loose, and at one point of time it can literally fall from its original place, and it can give its effect on children or even teachers, or it could be even the maid who is crossing over that place. So as for risk reduction, we have suggested that it's either we eliminate the fan and replace it with new wires, or even eliminate the fan itself and fix it up with a new fan which will work well. Now we are moving on to the second hazard. So as you can see in the picture, the sides or the side corner of the computer table is not fully tapped. So if it's not fully tapped, there are possibilities where the soft corner is sharp, and children who are using it, or even teachers who are using the computer table, might get injured at their elbow. So it's very important to make sure that these injuries are reduced. So as a suggestion, we can actually replace that with either soft corner guards, which will help the children and the teachers using it to feel soft around the area, and the reduction of injuries in terms of the effect at the elbow would be reduced. So moving on, as you can see in the picture, the scissors and also those knives which were arranged on shelves were not fully arranged in the right manner. It's because it's possible for children who are reaching that area to get injured. Sometimes even teachers might not realize it. So as they were taking that thing and it gets fallen off, and sometimes those breakable items or even sharp items might even affect their hand. So it's very important to make sure that these items are actually secured carefully. So in terms of engineering controls, these items are supposed to be located in covered shelves, if possible right under the sink, where children and teachers will not be able to reach that only for certain purposes, and the injuries will be reduced as well. So next, we're going to see how a wet floor at the sink area or even near the bathroom would affect children, as when they are stepping it, it's possible for them to either fall and even get injury at times. Not only children, even the employees who are the teachers and also the maid would get affected by this too. So it is important to make sure that the wet floors are cleaned and also being dried before any other employee or any other children who are crossing it affects it. And also it's important, if the floor is still wet, it is important to make sure that a signage of wet floor is kept right beside it, so that people will get alert in making sure that they are not supposed to cross that area. As you can see in the picture, those mats are actually less frictional. These mats are actually placed right in front of the bathroom area, where children will go for some children will have to stay for daycare, and they are supposed to get freshen up for their next class or even doing their homework. So if these kind of mats are there, it's possible for children and even teachers or even maid who are actually bathing them can fall, because these mats are actually less frictional. So As for risk reduction, we can suggest them to replace that less frictional mats into new ones, so that it will be much safer for the children and the teachers to stand on that and also walk on that much easier. So as we move on, if you can see, the legs of the chairs are actually mostly correct. So children or even teachers who are actually sitting on there for learning processes, it's possible for them to even get injured, because as they sit down, their weight will not be supported by the chair, and thus the chair will get broken, and also these employees can get affected. So as for risk reduction, it is always important to replace these chairs with either new ones, or replace the material, or even change the chair material from cracked ones into anti-cracked chairs, as it's easier for these chairs to support the weights of any sort of size. So as we move on to the hazards of the workplace, as you can see, a stack of chairs is actually placed redundantly near the room, and these kinds of things would actually affect the people walking around there, as it causes toppling. And if it causes toppling, serious badly injured people will get more increased, as the weight is very high. So as for risk reduction, we can actually suggest that either this stack of chairs are placed inside a closed room, or limit the number of chairs in a stack, so it's easier to handle this. So as you can see in the picture, thumbtacks are actually loosely fixed in the bulletin board. Thumbtacks is basically something very sharp, and children will not even know what's the use of thumbtacks. So the curiosity in them would make them to take the thumbtacks, and sometimes will put it in their mouth. So injuries inside their intestine, or even affecting their breathing system, is something very serious, and we should actually take care of it. So for suggesting, we could say that either these thumbtacks are banned from using the bulletin board, or even these bulletin boards are used, these thumbtacks should make sure that they are safely placed in a closed box, so that children would not be able to know that these thumbtacks are actually existing. So as we move on to the hazards of kindergarten, as you can see in the picture, the bulletin board is not fastened tightly because the screws are actually loose. So if it's loose, the bulletin board can be possibly toppled, and people can get injured because of this. So as a reduction control, we can actually suggest that these boards should actually fasten tightly, and also these screws can get covered with the screw covers. So as for the last hazard that we're going to see in this kindergarten is that as you can see, the stairs have only one level of handrail, which is only for the adult use. It's not for, there's no handrail for the children use. So just in case if any child who accidentally just fall off, they don't have any handrail to actually grab on. And plus, even if children wants to walk, the staircase is very, very high for them to actually walk up. So it's suggestible to actually have suitable steps with the right amount of length, just for the children and the employees, which are the teachers, to actually walk easily. And it's also suggestible to have a handrail just also for child use, so that children can actually have support while walking down, even though the staircase is not able to be changed fully. At least with the help of the child use handrail, they can actually walk easily. So as a conclusion, kindergartens could be something very common, something which is, it looks something very simple, but also we should understand that hazards do exist in this workplace. So it's very important for companies handling these kind of kindergartens to make sure that these hazards are not existing in terms of happening it. So it's very important for companies to have good maintenance, making sure that children and even the teachers teaching in the kindergarten doesn't get affected. So I think that's all from us. Thank you.